On Thursday morning, the 12th, the world was shaken by devastating news. A Boeing 787 crashed shortly after takeoff in India, with 242 people on board. The tragedy is already considered one of the worst air disasters of the decade, with the death toll surpassing 279. But behind the cold statistics, we're talking about lives lost. And amid this chaos, one story caught the world's attention. Today you'll meet the man from Seat 11A, the only survivor of this disaster, and what he lived through seems impossible. Welcome to the Mysterious File. My name is Enigmatic, and in this video we won't focus only on the numbers, we'll tell a story. Because when a tragedy like this happens, it's easy to reduce everything to statistics. 42 people on board, 230 passengers, 12 crew members, 290 dead, and counting. But every number represents a life, a story, a family. And among hundreds of lives cut short, one continued. The story of Vishwash Kumar Amet, a Boeing 787 Dreamliner from Air India, a state-of-the-art aircraft, 57 meters long, with a 60-meter wingspan, designed to cross the planet. A machine built to fly over 13,000 kilometers non-stop. But that day it barely reached 190 meters of altitude, that's all. The distance between takeoff and the beginning of the fall. And it all happened in just 30 seconds. 30 seconds that defined the fate of hundreds of people. This is where we meet Vishwash, a 40-year-old man, Indian-born but raised in London. Married, father of one, working in a tech company. After 2 decades away from his homeland, he decided to visit family in India with his older brother Jai, 45. The trip was peaceful, full of reunions, food, laughter, memories. But every trip eventually comes to an end. On Valentine's Day in Brazil, on the other side of the world, the brothers were at the airport ready to return. They couldn't find seats together. Vishwash took seat 11A near the wing. Jai sat farther away, but it didn't matter. In a few hours they'd be home again, or so they believed. For those afraid of flying, takeoff is often the most stressful moment. Maybe Vishwash felt that familiar fear, but he never mentioned any strange feeling. Truth is, there was no time. Between 5 and 10 seconds after takeoff, something was wrong. The plane wasn't gaining altitude. The cabin lights flickered, green, white, green, white. The engine sound didn't rise. Inside, everyone could feel it. Something was terribly wrong. Outside, witnesses filmed the plane frozen mid-air, motionless, powerless. The landing gear was still down. The flaps, essential for lift, were misaligned. In the cockpit, 2 experienced pilots tried to control the impossible. Captain Sumit Barwell and First Officer Clive Kundar had more than 9,000 flight hours combined. But it wasn't enough. The last message to the tower was short and desperate. Mayday. No thrust, losing lift, losing control. Seconds later, impact. The aircraft crashed into a building, a medical college cafeteria, at lunchtime. The explosion was massive. Around 50 people on the ground were killed, in addition to the hundreds on board. Dozens more were injured. Doctors, students, professors. Caught completely off guard, inside that ball of fire was Vishwash. His first thought was simple: I'm dead, but he wasn't. He was alive, bleeding, burned in pain, but conscious and trapped. Smoke, heat, screams, people burning around him. He saw everything as unable to help. There was only one chance. With burned hands, Vishwash forced a gap in the fuselage, kicked the metal open, crawled through the wreckage, and got out. He escaped from a burning airplane, hastened alone, alive all around him at their destruction. Flames, Silence, bodies, fear. He panicked and ran, limping, until he collapsed. Rescue teams found him in shock and rushed him to the nearest hospital. He couldn't speak, he barely breathed, but he was alive. When he finally regained consciousness, his first question was, "My brother?" The answer came hours later. Jai didn't make it. Of 242 people on board, only one survived. Later, Vishwash called his wife in London. He said only 3 words, "I'm okay." Doctors confirmed no major physical injuries, but the scars you can't see, those will never fade. In 2024, the odds of dying in a plane crash were 1 in 13.7 million. In 1970, it was 1 in 350,000. Aviation evolved, safety improved, but none of that mattered for those on that flight. Ironically, studies show the most dangerous seats on a plane are front section, 38% fatality rate. Middle near the wings, 39%. Rear section, 32%. Vishwash sat between the front and the middle, one of the deadliest zones. And yet he lived. You can call it luck. You can call it a miracle. But in the end, one truth remains. One man escaped death while hundreds became just numbers in the news. That's why, here on The Mysterious File, we'll always remember that behind every number, there's a story. And today we told you the story of the only survivor of the Air India flight. If you made it this far, thank you. This is just the beginning. If this story moved you, subscribe and leave a like. It helps us keep telling real stories like this one.